How to turn your dreams into reality even though most people never do. How to turn your dreams into reality even though most people never do. That is what we are going to talk about today. But first, please let me inhale the validation that you send my way. Please send said validation by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Hit the little notification bell so that you can get brand new videos the moment they come out. All other platforms, please like, comment, subscribe, love, share with your friends. How to become successful even though most people never do. How to turn your dreams into reality even though most people never do. That's one of the central messages I talk about in my brand new book, Plug, Real Help and Honest Guide to Self-Improvement. Click the link below and you can get a copy of that, but I digress. The central message in the book, it openly admits that in order to turn your dreams into reality, you're going to have to become the exception to the rule, right? So a lot of books make these outlandish promises and they talk about the fact that if you just follow their 10 steps, you are guaranteed to be successful. And it's almost insulting because you know that's not true. You know by simply looking around you that it is not easy to become successful. If you want to become successful, and by success, I mean just simply doing the things that you want to do on a daily basis. It has nothing to do with what anyone else wants, but being successful means doing the things that if you were being truly honest with yourself, you were doing all the time. Let me turn my phone off here in the middle of my video. Back to what I was saying. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to become the exception to the rule. You're going to have to take on an attitude that is uncommon. And that uncommon attitude just accepts the inherent unfairness of the life up front. Like you just have to accept that life is not going to be fair to you. You're going to have to accept that not only are you going to have to think differently, you're basically going to be living in a world where everything around you, every person, all the institutions, media outlets, everything is going to be contradicting the way that you think. This is why I talk about the process of self-improvement means that you essentially have to brainwash yourself because there's so many kind of stimuli that are teaching you that idea of learned helplessness. And if you look out at the examples in the world, well, you would come to the conclusion that it is difficult to become successful. Look at the average person in society. They're working a job that they do not like. They are in massive debt. Most people just don't have the kind of mindset to understand that there is real possibility for upward mobility in this society. See, that's the thing about it. On the one hand, I have a chapter about this in my book. On the one hand, there's a view of society where the pessimism makes sense. The idea that you have no upward mobility seen through one perceptual lens, one prism, actually makes a lot of sense. When you look at things like the fact that the real minimum wage has not increased for like decades, the fact that student loan has continued to go up, the fact that tuitions are going up, the fact that there's issues with healthcare, the fact that wages are remaining stagnant, the fact that most people can't save enough money to afford a $1,000 emergency, the fact that politicians and crony capitalism and all these other issues are gumming up the works and kind of reducing the mobility for the sovereign individual. Like you could look at one half of the picture, see that path, and it could make a lot of sense to you. It makes a lot of sense to me why people feel like they have no hope. Without kind of this self-improvement cheat code that I talk about, this fortified brainwashing type of mindset that I talk about, it's very easy to fall into learned helplessness. It's very easy to fall into nihilism. And it's very easy not to see this other lane. And what other lane am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that there is infinite upward mobility, infinite income potential, infinite opportunities if you are able to use these alternative avenues. If you are able to use the internet, if you are able to learn how to be a creator and use things like YouTube and social media and WordPress and all these other things, there are alternative career paths. You can start an e-commerce business if you want to. You could become a freelancer if you wanted to. You could create some podcast based on some idiosyncratic hobby that you love, that there's a niche of other people who also love enough to make a living doing what you love. You could do that. You could make art for a living. There are people out here doing these things every day. I'm one of the people who are doing these things, but I always preface it by saying that you're going to have to not only have an abnormal attitude, you're also just going to have to put in an abnormal amount of work. There are just simply a lot of steps to pulling it off. And, these steps, the steps aren't necessarily difficult in and of themselves. Like, you could do them, but it's just putting the mindset together to be able to follow through with each individual step, which is why I often talk about the idea of just getting started. That's the video I started this channel with. Just get started and experiment for 90 days, 6 months, and then you'll learn some of the advanced stuff later. Because if you try to learn it all up front, or if you stay too focused on the long-term future, it's going to cause you to quit. It's like that saying, if I knew everything it would take to get here, I wouldn't have even gotten started. And I can relate to that a lot. Like, if someone would have went way back in time and told me everything I'd have to do for the next 5 years to get where I am today, I'd be like, sounds like a lot of work, man. I don't know if I want to go through all that. But then again, I kind of would want to go through it, because finding something that's aligned to your talents and your strengths helps you kind of overcome that hurdle. That's why I always talk about finding your strengths. But then that's just sort of the prerequisite. You also have to go above and beyond in terms of your effort, in terms of the time frame. It's probably going to take you 3 to 5 years to, do whatever little side project, life path thingy. If you really want to get it off the ground, 3 to 5 years. Things started taking off for me 3 to 4, and then now really, really going up in year 5. So you just got to be able to put in the work. And that's why I'm here. That's why I want people to see the growth and evolution of this channel, because I want them to see the process unfolding in real time. I'm hoping that there's some people who are with me from day one as a little baby YouTuber and going all the way up to the top, to show you that yes, you have to be an exception to the rule in order to be successful. I'm going to be an exception to the rule where most people start YouTube channels and quit in 6 weeks, where very few people have 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 subscribers. I'm going to get to that length, and I'm going to become an exception to the rule in multiple avenues, right? So becoming an exception to the rule as a writer, becoming a successful writer, and then doing it again on YouTube is going to show that while you do have to be an exception to the rule in order to be successful, there is a proven and repeatable process of working hard in an arena to be successful. So the overall odds are not high. Most people never get any of their dreams accomplished. Most people don't turn their dreams into reality whatsoever. Most people live life with this low-level anxiety because they have the whispers of the dreams that they have in their mind, but they never turn them into reality. And as hard as it is, you just have to do the steps. Like, I know what it feels like when you're like taking step 1. You have a brand new business. You have no customers. Not only do you have no customers, you don't even have the website set up. You don't have the Shopify website set up yet. And starting the Shopify website is difficult enough on its own. And then you don't have the products yet. You haven't done the customer research to figure out what products people like. And then you have to find the manufacturer. You have to call a guy in China to get a product to sell. Then you have to call another designer to create a label for the product. Then you have to put that together. Then you have to write product descriptions. So you have to learn how to write product descriptions. You have to learn how to write copy. You have to learn sales. Like, there's a lot involved. You know the saying, if it were easy, everybody would do it. If it were easy to put out a YouTube video every single day, 5 days a week for 5 years, everyone would do it. All of these things have a high burnout rate. I'm openly admitting that. I talk about the fact that I create this content, I write these books because I think that there are 3 to 5% of people who are going to follow through. And I've honed in what my audience truly is now. My audience is speaking to people who are the exception to the rule. And I remember when I would take, kind of different online classes and courses where online courses have a traditional 3 to 5% completion rate. I just always had the feeling I'm going to be the one to finish the course. It's going to be me. I always thought of myself as exceptional. Even when I was kind of a loser, bum, nobody, I was always optimistic about the future. And if you're watching this, you're probably like me. See, I openly admit that kind of there's a broad swath, a vast majority of people who they just don't see it for themselves. They just don't. And it's probably better for those people to just be content with the 9 to 5. They can't see anything beyond what they're doing. Maybe, I don't know if this is necessarily true, but I think some people just come with a higher level of just that itch. You have that itch. And I think a large number of people have that itch. I think you have that itch, but we're a small portion of the population where most people, they just don't have that itch. They're just going to live and die in small town Iowa and drive a truck for a living. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that at all. I am not crapping on that or knocking that at all. But where it comes in, the problem is when you have the itch and you don't do anything about it. See, if you were just someone who didn't have dreams, if you were someone who was just blind to the possibility of living a better life and you didn't do anything about it, then you'd kind of feel okay. But what creates that low-level anxiety? Knowing you can do more and then not doing it. When you break your promises to yourself, when you don't do the things that you know you're supposed to be doing, that you know you're capable of doing, you just you chip away at your soul every day. And, my theme for 2020 is I'm just owning everything I say now. I used to hedge. I used to talk and pretend maybe I'm just being hyperbolic. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm pretty sure I am correct. You have to become the exception to the rule. So don't use other people as your reference points in life. I talk to people all the time and I'm good at doing small talk. I have these conversations with people where these kind of limiting beliefs slip out of their mouth, these kind of average belief system thinking patterns and phrases that come out of their mouth. I don't walk around correcting people because that's their reality. I don't try to act like I'm better than them because they just have a different view of reality. I just choose not to share it. And that's kind of the switch you have to make in your mind. You have to stop. If the A stops wanting to evangelize to other people who don't want to hear the message, and B, you just have to accept that that's not what you want for your life. You have to accept that you're not going to be a cog, and you're just going to have to be okay with being surrounded by people you perceive to be cogs in the machine, right? So I look at a lot of other people and I'm they probably could be doing better. They could be doing different, but I can't control them. I can't save the whole world. I can only work on myself as the individual and try to help as many individuals as I possibly can. I'm here to help you. You just got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself if at some point in your life you're going to be willing to pay the price and just understand what it's going to take up front. It's going to be hard. Stop reading books about 10 steps to becoming a millionaire. There are 110 steps to getting your foot in the door to becoming a millionaire. There are thousands of steps. You just have to accept that that's part of the process. But after you accept that's part of the process, take that out of your mind and just put it vague, distant into the future. You know there's going to be a bunch of steps. Make that commitment, but then zoom into the present. It's 2020. It's January right now. What do you need to be doing this month to get your dream off the ground? Set up the channel. Do one video. Make the minimum commitment. One video a week. One blog post per week. Put one product out. Don't do a whole product line. Create one painting. Do something. Be exceptional. The word exceptional means many people aren't going to be it. That's the way that the word is constructed. And to be honest, maybe you wouldn't necessarily want to live in a world where everyone was exceptional, because then you wouldn't be exceptional, right? So quit trying to save the world. Quit trying to save everybody. I've noticed that people who are more preoccupied with like the state of the entire world, who are preoccupied with global issues, it's because they can't focus on themselves. It's easy to talk about climate change. Anybody can do it. Anybody can talk about climate change. Anyone can talk about poverty. Anyone can talk about wealth inequality. Anyone can blab about politics. Almost no one can sit with themselves, figure out what they want, and then go ahead and do the work to get it done. Are you one of those people? I'm fired up. I'm fired up because I have been a loser, bum, nobody. I have been depressed. I have been a drug addict, alcoholic. I have been through the lows of the lows, and I figured out a way out of it, which gives me just the passionate energy to know that you can also do it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to guarantee that you will do it. That doesn't mean I'm going to blow smoke up your butt. That doesn't mean I'm going to fill you up with fluff and false promises. Become the exception to the rule. Be exceptional, and then you might have a chance at turning your dreams into reality. Okay! I now have 2 books to show you. Real Help, An Honest Guide to Self-Improvement. That's my brand new book. Check it out in the link below. Please buy it if you found any value from my content. This book encapsulates all of it. Real Help and You 2.0 is another book. Get all my books. Get all my books. Subscribe to my channel. Tell all your friends about me. I am super excited to keep shooting brand new videos and showing you what the process looks like. I will see you next time.